So welcome to the latest Mythoard review. This is the latest Mythoard I just received, and we'll take a look at what's inside. Here's the Mythoard thank you card. This typically has the open game license content on it, so it's always good to have that. So that's clear. We also have a Mythoard adventure hook card. These adventure hook cards don't have any content, or I should say statistics, but they really are just information about the adventure itself, and in this case, this is talking about sort of an encounter with some kind of mountain creature, man of the mountain. So, got that. This is called an open door. It is typically your information about the Mythoard itself, so it's a dual purpose. It's an index card as well as an adventure. You can see they're meant to be collectible. What's interesting here is that this Mythoard doesn't have that. I don't know if they've given up on it because it's too difficult to figure out what's going to be in the Mythoard, but it's not here. So this has some pretty basic statistics. It is a plant monster based adventure, so interesting for druids, but it's sort of the stats are pretty generic, more for your basic kind of rules, probably swords and wizardry type D&D. So interesting, but no great shakes there. That's the card. I've talked about this before. I don't want to be a broken record. You either love Knights of the Dinner Table and you want to read all these comics, or you don't, and then you probably don't care a whole lot about this comic and series of comics. There's quite a few. There is lots of content as well, so quite a few Dungeon Crawl Classic things, some reviews, which is nice. Tools, weapons, NPCs. So this reminds me a lot of Dragon Magazine in its heyday, which is still going strong, but for the most part it's comics, so if you like this comic, it's something you'll be interested in. If you do not, you will not. This is probably the most interesting piece of the set, which is, as always, Judges Guild Journal, which goes back to 1979, which is pretty cool. Judges Guild had a habit of publishing their own fiction, and sometimes, frankly, for their own purposes, I think. But you can see, and you can usually tell by the maps at a quick glance, this actually had, and by the way, this is my favorite part, this is introducing Kevin Simbidia for the first time. Simbidia, if I'm saying it right. Of course, he's legendary now for Palladium, but this is his debut as an artist in the magazine, which is fun, and his artwork's all throughout. So separate from that nostalgia factor, they actually had an adventure contest. And because they had an adventure contest, you actually have some really cool adventures, a bunch of them. This is, again, when magazines wouldn't just do one, but a whole bunch. So you can see how they rated. And there's actually quite a bit of old school goodness in all this. And I think it's 5 or 6 dungeons. So I just love that kind of stuff. I mean, and a lot of these dungeons were really creative and some really good content. The maps are great. So interesting and valuable. And I think this, I could get a lot of use out of this for 5th edition if I wanted to convert it. Well, that's not last but not least. Here's the hardcover that comes with it. I think this is their goal for Mythoard going forward, is to have a hardcover that is in every installment. This is a guide, and this is what I call a player's guide. It's full color. It's gorgeous. The paper is laminate. I mean, it's really nice. But your mileage of this is going to vary based on how much you play in the setting. So they have the races, which is cool. They have some history, so it gives you the background. I'm doing a lot of this myself for my own campaign, so I think it makes a lot of sense. The challenge is always, it's really, oh, there's some nudity. There's really one and done. If you are playing in this campaign, you're going to find this useful. If you are not, you will not. And so the equipment is actually kind of interesting, and some spells. But, you know, the spells aren't anything crazy, like freedom of movement. I don't know why that's in here. It's probably because it's not in part of the sword and wizardry rules. So this is for sword and wizardry. But some monsters and general info. And then a lot of ads in the back. This is only a 40-something page thing. I don't know that it needed to be a hardcover. It's actually a pretty nice hardcover, but your mileage may vary with whether or not that's something you need or actually use. The other thing, the final thing is we did get a miniature. So it sounds like Mythoard's going to try to do miniatures too. And you can see this little guy is a door that sits on its own, sits upright. It's a 1-inch wide door, which I love. I think it's a really cool door. And it's special. It doesn't look like any generic door. It looks like a serious door. So something I probably can use as well. So you add all this up, and this is not the best Mythoard. It's okay. I think they can do better. I'm not sure what's going on because it got real quiet in terms of communication. So here's hoping that we'll get more of these and we'll find out some more interesting content in the future. So thanks for listening, and hope you enjoyed it. And you can take a look at my other Mythoard reviews as well.